Okay, so next speaker is Mario Ziman from Institute of Physics of Slovak Academy of Science Research Center for Quantum Information. The title is Quantum Technology in Slovakia, please.
Okay, so hello everybody. So thank you very much. I'm very happy about this possibility, and also I'm very happy about that this meeting is happening. And as I saw from the lectures, I saw that they are really about more about the science. I will not talk too much about the science, but I decided when I saw in the morning the talks that I will also add something what I'm also interested in and what I'm working on. So not to just give like some overview about what we are doing in quantum technology in Slovakia. So I will be, in principle, I will be very brief. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can just ask me also during the talk. Yeah. I don't have any. I'm quite open to questions also during the talk. Yeah. So okay. So I'm working at the Research Center for Quantum Information in Bratislava in Slovak Academy of Sciences. Recently, what happened in Slovakia is that somehow with this quantum flagship that was perfectly described by Tomaso, there started to be some initiative, and also some we are also getting some political support and also some financial support at the end for development of quantum technologies. So the quantum technologies in Slovakia started in the late 90s, yeah, when at the Institute of Physics. And currently, these are the main kind of research institutes that are having some or planning to have some quantum technology research and also development and also deployment. Yeah. So the original one, as I said, is Institute of Physics and Faculty of Mathematics. I will explain in more details what is the particular research areas that these universities are focused on or are planning to be focused on the next slide. Yeah. So here you can see listed the main research institutes in Slovakia, in fact, which is the Academy of Sciences and the Comenius University, Technical Universities in Bratislava, and Pavel Josef Šafárik University in Košice. Yeah. When I say the main research institutes, I mean with the area of physics. Yeah. Of course, there are also some others in some other places, but the main physics research, or especially quantum physics research, is done in these institutes. Okay, so what are these institutes working on? Okay. So at the Academy of Sciences, which is this biggest part, we are traditionally interested in, we are a theory group originally here, yeah. So we are interested in development of theoretical tools and protocols and algorithms and this type of studies, yeah, in essentially covering the whole areas of quantum technologies. But of course, we are taking some particular corners from these areas and not covering the whole because we are not that many, yeah. And other traditional field is a superconducting qubits, which was mostly developed at the Faculty of Mathematics at Comenius University in Bratislava, and post-quantum cryptography, which is recently developed in the Technical University. This what is here written in white letters. So these are recent activities that are that started, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. Which is about, now we are building experimental photonics and superconductivity at the Institute of Physics. And we are also developing some institutes that I mentioned in the previous slide are transforming some of their activities towards quantum technologies, and especially from the point of view of engineering and enabling technologies and using their techniques that they are good at, like low temperature physics in Košice has a long-standing tradition. Yeah, so these are all the research groups that are currently trying to have also some quantum technology flavor. Yeah, and in fact, 3 of these institutes, like the essential knowledge or experience in superconducting qubits in Bratislava and enabling technologies at the Electrotechnical Institute, and these low temperature physics in Košice, they are somehow now putting together their experience and knowledge from these areas. And we are aiming to develop something that is not really completely only research, but it's more about the quantum technology. So we are putting together these experiences and knowledge to create, to develop or to design superconducting photodetectors that will be used also in other activities, which is related to this experimental photonics. And it is related to what Tomaso has mentioned, this EuroQCI activity. It's about building the quantum communication infrastructure in individual states of the Europe, and also in Slovakia. We are planning to build the quantum communication infrastructure, and also this development of the photodetector is part of our objectives within this EuroQCI activity. Yeah. And at the end, we hope that these photodetectors that we plan to develop within the next 2 years will be also employed or deployed in this quantum communication infrastructure in building individual stations. Okay, so what is our particular goal? So this is currently these two activities. I mean, the superconducting photodetector and the quantum communication infrastructure is something what is the main driving objective for the whole quantum technology development in Slovakia within the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So this is where we are also interested to kind of our approach in building this quantum communication infrastructure. You can see the plan, how this is going to be. Of course, it is easy to draw the lines on the map, yeah. But how this is going to be, what we are planning, how this is going to be implemented. So what we are aiming to in Slovakia is that we are not opting for commercially available solutions to quantum key distributions, but we are aiming to develop our own sources and use entanglement-based quantum communication cryptography to implement this entanglement-based quantum communication cryptography, which is not currently available in a commercial way. At least, okay, it's not currently available in a commercial way. Yeah. So here you can see also the years, what is roughly the plan. Yeah. So it's really a plan for the next 10 years. And when you see these dashed lines, this is meant to be like a connection that is via teleportation, because as I said, we are aiming to implement the entanglement-based quantum key distribution systems. And also, since this network, then we hope that this will be also will serve to the community also as a test bed for testing some really quantum communication protocols. So not only aiming to distribute keys, yeah, but also to implement some more advanced studies within quantum networks. So we really are hoping to build really a quantum communication network that will be able to distribute also quantum information. Yeah. What you see here is also that there are some connection to the foreign countries, and there is also a line to Ukraine. Yeah. So this line is here because this project was prepared at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And at the beginning of the year, I think that one of our ministry was visiting Ukraine, and who is the Ministry of Investments, who are money-wise behind all these activities. Yeah. And she had made some agreements there on the Ukrainian side during this meeting that we are going to discuss this possibility to connect essentially also with Ukraine. Unfortunately, after a few weeks later, happened what has happened. Yeah, so there was not really any further communication was established. But I hope that this is going to happen, this communication, and we are really very open to establish also this line of the network, yeah, in the future, yeah, because everything this is basically planned for like next 2 or 3 years, but already now it's time to do some preparation steps for that. Yeah. So okay, so therefore we are very open to, and I was very I'm happy that essentially I didn't know anything about the quantum research in Ukraine before, and only started to investigate this possibility at the beginning of this year to try to find some people to connect to, and also to discuss the potential collaboration in such activities. Also, not only necessarily including only the network, but also about development of the superconducting photodetectors. So I would be very happy if we somehow establish some collaboration in this direction. What we are currently having from the whole of this network is not essentially even depicted in the picture. Okay, one part is depicted. There was a connection between Bratislava and Vienna, which was there was a quantum link that was working. It is still in operation mode. And we are also currently establishing a connection inside Bratislava, with this kind of our main test bed for development of the sources that then will be distributed to other parts of the Slovakia. So okay, so this is currently the as I said, these are the main research activities are. Or this is not really a research, it's more like an engineering task, also to develop the software that will be running this quantum communication network. So, but behind this engineering task, there is still a lot of research to be done. Yeah, and these engineering these applications are something that is also driving our current research interests. Yeah. So we are also slowly changing towards the communication and development of communication technologies, also the theory-wise, yeah, which means to develop some protocols and these things. So okay, so here I will say a little bit more about some few sentences about the main kind of leaders of the part of the groups in Slovakia that are currently or were doing already some quantum technology related research. Yeah, so not really this quantum technology in the current sense, but really some research in the past. So the first one is Vladimir Bužek, who essentially was working on, who established this quantum information theory group in Bratislava in these late 90s, and he was coming from quantum optics, theoretical quantum optics background, and he established the study of foundation of quantum information theory. Yeah, which is still, I think, the strongest part of our research in quantum communication, in quantum technologies. Yeah. Then we are working also on algorithms, but mostly interested in complexity theory and in complexity from the point of view of how difficult it is to simulate or model the quantum systems. Yeah? So this is about algorithms that are basically meant to find out to study the goal of finding the properties of the physical systems from the point of view of complexity theory. Yeah? And also to identify which properties or which systems are complex and difficult to simulate even on quantum computers in principle. Yeah? Jovan Aktas is the leader, is establishing currently a group in photonics and communication. So he will be the key person behind this quantum communication network. Yeah. So this will be about cryptography, software development, and other things. From the simulations, we are developing like this tensor network simulation methods and techniques and tools with not really using them in a sense of applying them to some particular physical systems, but more like to find out to develop the algorithms themselves. Yeah. That are able to simulate. So therefore the simulations are mostly about some simulating of some very peculiar and might be artificial systems, like for example, spin systems in some curved spaces and so on, which means that we have to develop some new tensor network approximations that are suitable for this type of simulations. Then we are interested still in the theory and communication, so development of some protocols, superconducting qubits, as I mentioned. So this is an experimental part. So we really have infrastructure to basically also to run the quantum computer. We would have the superconducting qubits that the other companies have, but we have this fridge, yeah, and we have our own superconducting qubits that are designed in Germany based on our proposals, and then they are tested, and so we are doing some experiments with superconducting qubits. Then there is a group of people working on something what is called post-quantum cryptography. I hope that you roughly have heard already this term. So this is kind of the cryptography that's that should be resistant to quantum attacks, to some to currently known quantum attacks, let's say. Yeah. So and this is the group of mathematicians, in fact, who are developing these post-quantum protocols. Yeah? So the post-quantum cryptography is the main competitor of quantum key distribution currently. Yeah. But what we are aiming to, that we are kind of looking for the protocols that are combining both of these approaches, so also post-quantum cryptography jointly with quantum key distribution technique. So basically using these quantum networks to establish at the end post-quantum cryptographic protocols. Okay, and people from Košice, so they are, there is a, they started to be interested in this quantum technology relatively recently, like in the last 5 years, let's say. So when currently they are using their knowledge from low temperature physics, also from superconductivity, to essentially they are involved in development of these photodetectors, and also in development of the software, which comes from the computer science background. People there who are, even they are currently, these people from Košice are those who are, yesterday I think you have talked by Abuzer about the Q world, yeah, and Q Slovakia is part of this Q world, and it is currently run by the students or people, young researchers in Košice. These activities related to education and within the quantum computation mostly. Yeah. Okay, so if you have any question to this, you may ask now or later. I don't want to say any more details about this particular activities now, because this will be I don't know how to correctly select, but at least you can see that what are kind of our research interests we are working on, or we have some little tradition. Yeah? Okay, and now for the rest of the talk, I will say something about what one particular subject what I was involved in, or I was working on recently. Yeah. I mean, my background is what I'm doing. I would call it the best to describe is a mathematical physics in this quantum information theory. So what I'm interested in is any kind of mathematical quantum structures and in study of the properties of these mathematical quantum structures, and how to provide operational definitions to some concepts, yeah, from this foundation of quantum physics, and also how to experimentally verify or certify some of these properties or features. So this guy, I can say, what is my main interest, and I would like to now make some little advertisement, probably even for something what we call like higher order quantum structures. So I will come to I will just give you the picture what this higher order quantum structure means in its simplest case, yeah, and then provide some particular example what are type of problems that you can solve to or address by using these higher order quantum structures. So it's not something that is in some sense a generalization of quantum theory. It's part of the quantum theory. It's just some mathematical tools or mathematical methods, let's say, and tools that are or mathematical structures that are used to describe some particular existing situation in quantum physics, in laboratories, but also they can be used to look for some generalization of quantum theory. And for example, if you know about this, if you have heard about this causal indefinite structures, so they are also part of this high order quantum structure. So they can be seen as some generalization of those. So okay, so so before I will introduce this high order, what I mean by this high order quantum structure, I will start with explaining the way how I look at the quantum theory. And I look at the quantum theory is about that we have some quantum devices in our disposal. And what we have as a quantum device is, for me, any quantum device or any device essentially we have, which I call elementary, is essentially transformation that transforms input into the outputs. And depending on the input and output I choose, I can talk about different, I can give different names to this transformation. So if I have a classical input and a quantum output, so the classical input can be which means something what even doesn't have to exist. So it is just the pressing a button or turning on the power or something like that. And I have a device that is producing at the output some quantum systems. And this type of, so in case of classical input and quantum output, I call it preparators or sources. When I have input and output, if both of them are quantum, this is what I can call a channel or an operation. In general, it is not trace preserving. And if the output is classical, then and the input is quantum. So this is essentially something what is, then this transformation is transforming the quantum information into the classical information in well-defined sense, if you want. But this is something what we understand intuitively as a measurement. So these are kind of, for me, the elementary quantum devices of these preparators, channels. So the state transformations and the measurements. And now we essentially, in order to describe these transformations, we use some mathematical objects. So the most common ones are, if we are talking about the state preparators, it's to be used most often the density operators.
You have only 2 minutes.
Okay, sorry.
To the end.
Sorry. I have only 15 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry then, okay, I thought I have 25 minutes, but okay, 20 minutes, but okay. Okay, so I will just introduce what I mean by higher order quantum structures, if I can, and this is what 2 minutes should be sufficient. So CPTMs and POVMs, and when we are talking about these elementary quantum devices, we are discussing something what we call systems. So we identify the quantum systems, and now this first example of higher order quantum structure is if we are kind of have some way how we are manipulating or transforming these devices. So we have some transformation device, this elementary device, and we can transform it, we can take it as an input. So the whole state transformation, let's say, is an input, and the output we produce again some another transformation. So this is about, we are transforming the channels, let's say. And this structure that is in this gray is something what is already the higher structure transformation. So it transforms not state, not systems, but the processes. So and therefore we are talking that we are manipulating the processes. And there are many things that, and now the question is how to describe this object here, mathematically. And this is what this higher order quantum structure is about. That what is the best description of this object here? And you can also think about to manipulate like these higher order structures, transforming into another structure of this type, and this gives you another mathematical structure, and there is a whole hierarchy of these higher order quantum structures, which has some mathematical representation, which at the end are about some behind are always some positive operators, but they have with respect to the usual one operators, they have slightly different properties, which essentially are introducing this fact that they are describing manipulation not with the systems, but manipulation with the processes. Yeah? And the questions you can ask is, for example, the simplest one is about the measurements of processes. So then we can talk about process observables. So what are the equivalence classes of all the experiments with the processes? Yeah. And this is the mathematical representation. Then we can think about how to invert the unknown process. So we want to transform unitary into unitary inverse, or cloning of the processes or learning of the processes. And this is the part I wanted to discuss a bit more about, this learning of the processes, but I will just now skip and I will not talk about it anymore. And all these higher order structures are also sometimes called, or originally people use the term that they are called quantum networks or quantum combs and testers. So which are just different types of these networks, depending whether they are probabilistic or what is the, not probabilistic or deterministic. Yeah. Okay, and I will skip this. Some applications and of this storing and retriever. I haven't mentioned anything from this learning of quantum processes, so I will not discuss this application part. But what I want to only advertise a bit is that currently in Slovakia, we do have we have an open call basically for researchers from Ukraine. Yeah. So if you are interested, you can contact me and we can I can provide you with more information. Unfortunately, the website is since it is organized by the government of Slovakia, and they have all the websites only in Slovak. So, but it's not unreadable for you, I think. But I can send you the link then. Okay, so sorry for the not perfect time management, but I am now open for the questions also.
Okay, thank you very much for interesting and informative talk about quantum science in Slovakia. And it's very interesting, and it's also science part is very interesting. So, but we have only very short time for one question. Okay, Professor Kordyuk, please, very short question.
Actually, to be short, it's even I will summarize what Oleg Torotanov also asked. I see in the chat. So this is just to say that we have collaboration with.
That's perfect. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. I sent information about this meeting to Miro Grajcar, and yesterday I was calling with him, but not about this. I was hoping that he will also somehow join, but he's also.
He just missed this meeting. I mean that I wanted to say just that we are especially interested, of course, in superconducting and sensors and any superconducting device, because really the two groups which are involved. I will mention it in my talk, and we have special talk from Vladimir Shnerkov later, so we will address this point there. Okay, but we are interested in superconducting, in collaboration on superconducting sensors and qubits. Okay.
Also, I can probably answer the questions from the chat. About the short-term internship, I mean, just write me email. I can send you the possibilities about the short-term internship as well. I mean, there is a Slovak National Scholarship Program, which is exactly for this type of exchanges, also from people from Slovakia to go to abroad, so to Ukraine in principle as well, but also for people from Ukraine coming to Slovakia. And it's very often used by Ukrainians, but not in this quantum technology so far, I think.
Okay, thanks again for the very interesting talk, and